Welcome to The Experience Today, where we explore the fascinating intersections of psychology, the human experience, and American politics.
Welcome to this lovely Tuesday before the Thanksgiving for this episode of Experience Today. I am one of your hosts, just one of them, one of two. We don't have a third musketeer, nor do we. I don't think we need a third musketeer. I think we're enough by ourselves. But I am your host, Mr. Roderick Threets, and my lovely host that is way down there in the Florida, way down yonder, down in the South Florida. That's Miss Valerie Zen. What's going on, girl? How you doing? How's things down there? Down your way? Anything crazy?
It's just dry. It's just dry. We don't get any rain. The lawn is turning brown. It's just like summer, you know?
Ironic,
it's 80 degrees. Yeah, it is. I'm expecting it to just sort of cool down for a while. Maybe a little rain, water the garden for me real good, but just not happening. Maybe because they're not playing with the clouds anymore. We don't know. Maybe that was a good thing. Maybe it wasn't. It's kind of like, let's see, the two turkeys today. One was Waddle, and I forgot the name of the other one. But if for anybody that saw it, Trump said he was tempted to name the two turkeys Nancy and Chuck. I thought that was a great line. Nancy and Chuck. Yeah, two turkeys.
Leave it up to him. Two jive turkeys, honestly, at that, right?
Yeah, that used to be a really big word, you know. Well, when we weren't cursing, we would call each other turkeys, you know. It was just, yeah. So, let's see. So what you see is what you get. Do you think so? Do you think? Well, sometimes you do see what you see, right? But it takes work.
Yeah,
it's work.
I mean, it's all, never mind.
It's all that digital fentanyl we get fed every day. Somebody said that this week. The digital fentanyl. I wrote that down because I was like, oh, that's pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, what you see, what you didn't see. How many times you walk away and say, oh, God, I didn't see that.
Right.
I didn't see that coming, right? I thought I saw what I was supposed to see, but I didn't see it. We don't see things the right way a lot of the time because we're being fed that digital fentanyl. And it doesn't even only have us confused watching these crazy politicians. It carries over into our everyday lives. We're just mixed up. Just forgetting things, just kind of like getting down on ourselves, like saying, oh, geez, I should have known better. I should have seen that in front of me. Oh, what was I thinking? How many times a day do we say that to ourselves now, as opposed to maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago? Remember what Thanksgiving was like 6 years ago? We had the greatest mind control operation going ever in history, according to me. I'm sure a lot of people would agree. You know, it was this psychological operation that Dr. Fauci decided to have on us. And when you think back to like people saying, oh, you can't come for turkey dinner if you haven't been vaccinated. And families were breaking out in all kinds of fights, and the separation began, right? So how could we have ever foreseen that operation happening? Because it happened so fast. It happened in a way that had never happened before, in a way we knew it. Because I don't think anybody's alive today that was alive in 1917 when the Spanish flu broke out.
Right.
And they didn't know what the heck was going on. They just had people flying into hospitals, and the nurses with their intuitive healing capabilities rolled the people out into the sun. And miraculously, people started healing. Kind of an interesting thing to look at, like when you suddenly get hit with something that you should be able to see. My question has been in my head for a long time, will we see it coming at us a second time or a third time?
Right.
How will most people react? The greatest number of people that will be voting in the next federal election will be Gen Z and millennials.
Mm-hmm.
Not us, right? And look at where they're at. I mean, I know that there's quite a number of conservative young people now, and I think that movement is growing. That's a good thing. That's positive. But if you look at like what took over New York City, and I have to admit, I got caught up in that emotional roller coaster really bad. I did. But I'm allowed. It was my home for so long. But I'm looking at it now, a few weeks after that election or selection, and I'm almost laughing. I'm almost laughing at myself because I think that Donald Trump, he's not taking it so seriously. And that's his home, and that's where his children are, and that's where his businesses and his everything was. And if he's not taking it so seriously, what's really going on? Like, what are we supposed to be seeing right now? Or maybe there's nothing to see here. Maybe it's a nothing to see here moment.
Maybe it's a nothing burger.
Yeah, right. It's a nothing burger. It's an empty sandwich. Yeah, in all of this, whatever's coming at us every day, we have free will. And we always have to tell ourselves that. The second we feel like our heart, oh my God, oh, what did he say? What is she? Candace Owens, oh my God, they're threatening to kill her in France. What does she know? No, you know what? This is theater. What did we used to call it? Kabuki theater.
It's kabuki.
It's the buki. It's the buki theater.
Yeah.
And we could get caught up in any given day on so many things. But what scares me is when we have these holidays and these times off. That scares me because that's when we, the people, take our eyes off the ball. And we should. We need a break, but what's really...
What Marvin said, what's going on?
That's right. It's too quiet in there. Right, what's that? Yeah. So, Greg Gutfeld, the other night, he said some stuff. I guess I was reading something he said. He's really smart and smirky and witty, and he comes out. I don't know if he writes his own material. I think he does, because it seems like it's him. But he said, we're in a microcosm of a bigger trend of radicals pushing extreme ideas until those ideas land on your own doorstep. Now, I look at like Joy Reid. She's a really good example. Apparently, she freaked out when she was confronted with a man in a locker room. Now, that's the woman that's been on TV screaming for years, transgender this, women in sport, men in... defund the police until someone breaks into your front door. I mean, this is all what is going to happen. to the people that have been screaming the loudest to not see what you're supposed to see.
Right.
Which is, what are the repercussions of all this? You know, you got freaked out because a real man walked into the locker room where you were, but you weren't able to carry that information over to it happening to other people and that it might happen to you. Like, that's just stupid stuff. You know, thinking that way, it just doesn't resonate anymore. I don't think for any of us it does. It's becoming clear how spaced out and programmed this all was. Mm-hmm. Right? So all that virtue signaling, oh my God, these people are going to eat their words. They're going to eat their jobs. I had put on Facebook this week that a new movie just came out called Nuremberg. Mm-hmm. And we've got some fine actors in there. And I think it's almost like a signal for us in our time right now to look at that and get educated and remember Nuremberg.
Right.
Because you and I once did a show about Nuremberg, and a lot of people didn't know. You know, they didn't know, honestly. I'm sure nobody teaches it in school anymore in history class.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I doubt it.
Yeah, especially with all the anti-Israel sentiment. Mm-hmm. It would blow up in a teacher's face, even if they wanted to try to teach it. And the curriculum is probably written to just leave it out. Don't go there.
Right.
Teach them how to have sex with themselves. I don't know. Yeah. So when we see what we see, which is what Steve Bannon always says, just see what you see. If it were easy to do that, we'd all be in a fine, comfy place. It's hard. With everything coming at us right now, it's hard to see what's real, what's a psyop. Mm-hmm. Like you said, what's going on, what's really going on. We're living in a propaganda machine. It's like an oxygen tank where you can't breathe, you know. I want to keep up with what's happening, but what's happening? What's happening, brother? What's happening?
Right.
We don't know. We don't know. And I comfort myself sometimes saying we're not supposed to know. And that's a good thing.
I agree.
Because we know they're all going to know. And yeah, look, there's a lot of military secrets going on now. I saw last night that Puerto Rico and the Caribbean is getting inundated with military. First thing I thought to myself is, all those people on the cruise ships to the Caribbean, now that it's holiday time, mm-hmm. This should be fascinating. Mm-hmm. In and of itself, it's going to be, I mean, the cruise ships in the past couple of years with all the viruses and people getting sick on them and you know, the whole nightmare of it. And Bruce and I, for years and years, were going on these cruises because Fort Lauderdale was right around the corner, and it was so easy to just do these Caribbean trips, and it was, you know, fun and relaxing and entertaining and all of it. Now I wouldn't get on a cruise ship if you gave me the best, because look at where they're going, and people are mostly oblivious. They have no. If I were to call 10 people that were hooked up for a cruise in the next 2 weeks and say, did you know that almost every island on the Caribbean right now is inundated with military, drones, missiles, you name it?
Wow.
They'd be like a deer in headlights looking at me. And then they'd say, oh, where did you hear that? That's what I hear all the time. What are you listening to? That's what I always say. Because there's nothing to say, right? Oh, go. Yeah, go. Yeah. Sounds like fun. Yeah.
Spectacular.
Especially when they hand out the plastic bags to poop in because the water doesn't flush and everybody's throwing up and sick.
Right.
And you got to sleep outside because there's no air conditioning. And yeah, it sounds like a really good time. And there's no food. Okay. So I think the next important thing to look at, especially in all of our upcoming elections, hopefully not C-lections, but they're working on it. You know, they're really working, getting rid of the machines, paper ballots, finding all the dead people, finding all the, you know, I'm rumored that we're going to have to re-register to vote, which is fine with me. I have no problem with that, especially if it works, you know. We don't have a strong work ethic going on. I was listening this morning. David Zier went to the Bethpage Diner on Long Island. And this diner is owned by a Greek family whose father and grandfather opened that diner. And it's like a family, you know, run business legacy. And it's a 24-hour diner, open all the time. His biggest comment and problem with the restaurant, aside from energy bills, food costs, all of it, he can't find anybody to work. People don't want to work. The young people that have the physical ability to do so, they don't want to work. And if that generation of 25 to 45 doesn't want to work because they have not been taught the value of work, money, they've not been taught basic skills. I heard there's no more shop classes in school, in high school. That was big. When I was in high school, all the guys went to shop and all the women learned how to cook and sew. I resented that. I wanted to take shop class. I think everybody should be able to do all of it, my opinion. But if they're not being taught basic skills and they don't have the business work ethic in their bones, because the internet and the entertainment building and convenience have destroyed it all, what is this generation going to vote for? Or vote against? Communism? Yeah, let everybody be equal. Let's redistribute the wealth. Let's just tax the white people. That's what Sauron said. Let's just tax all the white neighborhoods and the white people. Yeah. What about the black people who are successful and living in those neighborhoods? Are you going to leave them out because of their skin color? They won't have to pay tax because they're black. Right. And yeah, and the Muslims who are successful in New York, who have good businesses, are you going to tax them or no? Because they're Muslim. No, you don't have to tax them. This is going to be fascinating. How the young people actually see this in their faces. Or is this just a joke? I can't quite make up my mind. See, that's where the see what you see comes in, because you can't see. It's the fog.
No, I would say though, right?
Yeah.
That these kids, as you're mentioning, right, that are promoting Mamdani, right, are the rich ones. They ain't the poor people. They're the rich ones. So they're advocating to have their parents' wealth taken away from them in the name of. I digress.
Some, yes. But what about all the illegals the people that are not citizens of the United States that are allowed to vote for the mayor and the non-federal, politicians. They came from all over the world and they're voting. They don't care. They just decided, oh, we can vote in this election. Maybe we'll just get a free apartment. We've already got free food, and this is a great place to land. I mean, we have to look at reality here, because these are not New Yorkers that voted in this election. That's clear to me. The real New Yorkers either voted for Cuomo because they were afraid of Mondami, or they voted for Curtis. The fake the fake populists, I'll call them, people that have, if they've lived there a year or 5 years, they're not New Yorkers. Their families are not there. Maybe some of them, but most of them are college kids that just landed there. They got scholarships for some reason, because I don't know why. I don't know the reasons they give people scholarships anymore, for all kinds of crazy reasons. I don't know, but I don't believe it was New Yorkers that voted for him. That's what I see in my eyes, because I know New Yorkers. And even the liberal New Yorkers were running away from him. So the people that voted for him should not have been able to vote. I don't know what we're going to do about that in this country, but I do think something has to change in our elections. I think we stand a chance of getting our federal elections together, but these lower level elections, it's going to be rough, because we're infiltrated by people that shouldn't be voting. Anyway, that's my piece on this. And all we can do at this point is watch this unfold. I think California is unfolding. For some reason, it seems to me people are really looking hard at Newsom, as he's called. And next online, well, we're looking really hard at Texas and Chicago now for different reasons. But New York is next online, next on stage. England, Germany, France. You think they're going to start a war? What else are they going to do?
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, like, what else are they going to do? Or can they do? Everything.
Yeah, they're up against the wall. And they have no money. And the only way for them to make money is to create a war. So, if you look around the world right now, it's a piece of cake for there to be a world war. Pick your place. That's all we need. It could start in Africa. It could start, Ukraine. I think what's happening now in Ukraine, everybody's looking at it saying, they could have done this 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. But now that there's nobody left to fight, and there's almost no other choice but to surrender, Russia will take a bite out of the pie, and it will finally die down. But then the people that want war, they're just going to look in another direction and find one. There's the ability to have war in the Middle East, Africa, Mexico, Venezuela. Where else can we go to start a war? I mean, piece of cake. Kind of like we need to look at that. We need to see. We do need to look at all of this. And if you ask a liberal about anything I just said, you get the deer in headlights again. They don't know what you're listening to, and how you're hearing all this stuff. They're reading Google News every morning, and they never heard anything about any of this, and they don't know where you're getting your information. Okay, all righty then. And the election was perfectly in order in 2020, and that's why we had over 1,000 people in prison from January 6th. That's why Tina Peters is dying in prison at age 70 with cancer. That's why political prisoners have been in style. Because why? You weren't paying attention. You weren't seeing what you were seeing. You were letting the media feed you all that digital fentanyl. They can't take responsibility for that. That they got where they are and don't know what's going on because they allowed the media to destroy their brain cells. You know, it's just every time you see so much of what's going on right now, the only thing you can say to yourself is that it's all because they hate Trump. How did they get to hate Trump so bad to the point where they're sick in the head? Because they just listened to what the media told them. It's actually quite simple. They repeated it and repeated it and repeated it, and then they knew it, and they got it, and they became aggressive at it. And that's how we got to where we are now. My goodness. On the other hand, now here's the other hand, because there's always that seesaw, right? We keep going from, okay, today's a good day. Look at what happened today. This is all good. And then the next day, oh my God, what are they doing to us? So, on the other hand, how much money did Trump take in for new manufacturing and business deals this past week? Today's Tuesday, but I mean really last week. Like
no clue.
trillion?
I wasn't counting. So.
Oh well, the Arab country is bringing 1 trillion. 1 trillion.
Oh, you're talking about the Saudi deal with MBS. Okay.
The
yes.
Saudi, yes. What I heard, and possibly people know this or they don't know this, I didn't know it, but the Saudi prince kind of was very connected to the last Saudi prince and the Saudi prince before that, and it was partially and a big part the United States who made all the deals with the oil companies, and they're very grateful to us for having
Well, you got to remember, right? The royal family in Saudi Arabia is Al Saud, so they are all related, all of them. All the Al Sauds are related. So,
and they like us because we really gave them their riches, their business. So they're happy to do business with Trump. All it took was a president that made a deal and went out there and knew how to do this. A good businessman. So, you know, we've got money coming in, and I'm going to assume that this tariff thing is going to pass because let's face it, that's how Andrew Jackson operated. We could just look at past presidents, and I don't know how the Supreme Court, it's a shame it even went there, but how the Supreme Court could vote that Trump can't use tariffs. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But a lot of things don't. So I'm hoping that we're going to bring a lot of manufacturing back here, and maybe, just maybe, some of these younger American people will figure out that there are some jobs, and they can get a kick in the ass to go get a job and make some money and maybe have children and own something, and what a novel idea. So it's possible that we could bring our country back. And I know that people are angry at DJT for allowing 500,000, 1 million Chinese students here. But I think what many Americans don't realize, especially the liberals and many conservative thinkers as well, they resent that we're bringing in Chinese people to come to our schools or to come take jobs that they've been trained for over there in China, and we don't have enough people trained here. Well, that's our fault.
Well,
That's not
yes, it
their
is.
fault.
And to your point, right? To your point, right? A lot of these ideological thinkers, they forget that when they started handing out liberal arts degrees in colleges after Woodrow Wilson and the New Freedom Plan, right? That's when manufacturing started kind of going to crap, right?
Right.
And all that. But I'm not going to get into that nuance. But the point I'm trying to make is they told these kids, yeah, they even told us to a point, you got to go to college and get this liberal arts degree so you can be intelligent, right? You can be intelligent, but can you work with your hands better than you can your mouth? And this is where we are. We're at the culmination point where all these kids are coming out with sociology degrees and psychology degrees. Nothing against those people, right? But I want people to understand, right? The people they're bringing here for these tech jobs and these high-end manufacturing jobs from other countries is because the people here were told to go get a liberal arts degree. That has nothing to do with that. So yeah, by default, what's going to happen? You're going to either import people that can work those jobs, or you're going to outsource them.
Right. And our people are going to have to learn those fields so that we can put Americans into those jobs. It's going to take a while, and everybody's impatient. You know, everybody wants to hit a button and it's done. We're the impatient society. Computers have really messed people up more than we realize, more than most people want to admit. And, you know, it takes many, many years. It takes many years to train to be a doctor, a lawyer. Unfortunately, the legal training is really going downhill. But you know, you cannot solve a manufacturing problem where you need engineers by putting illiterate people in front of a machine that they don't know how to use and say, go ahead, figure it out. No, we have to, in order to get our manufacturing going and building, we need the assistance of China. It's unfortunate, but we do. And India, probably, you know, a number of countries that have focused in on real education. So we are where we are. It's just, we just have to be patient and hope that we can be the American dream again. And it's going to take time. We're not going to pop into this in a year. And, you know, I'm hopeful that the midterms, because I see everybody working really hard on the elections and bringing up information about the 2020 election, like really fortified information. I think it's going to be tight, it's going to be scary, but we're going to get through the midterms. And if we get governors, I'm sorry, every time I think about how we're going to get anywhere, I'm constantly focused on the governors. Governor Hochul has to go and be done with herself, and Elise Stefanik will neutralize Zoran, the magician. She will neutralize him. Hopefully, we're going to be able to continue with Byron Donalds. Love the guy. He's going to be terrific. Nobody's perfect, by the way. I'm not idolizing anybody. I'm looking at reality and who is able to neutralize this maniacal liberal garbage that's going on in our school systems. And who could be better than people that have young children and are really able to relate to this issue? Interesting, just a side note, Governor DeSantis today passed a bill that people cannot experiment on animals anymore in the state of Florida. And you know, my heart, this has always been an issue for me. And I'm just glad, even, you know, with another year to go, he's constantly working on the state of Florida. Now, Abbott, I have a lot to say about him. Always believed he was a rhino in the first place. About 5 years too late, he's signing bills against Sharia law, and we are too in Florida. So I'm not sure how many states are getting busy right now signing. I hate that word. Oh, we're writing legislation, we're writing letters, we're signing. Does anybody think that if someone is a terrorist, you can sign them away from doing what they want to do? Just asking. If you think that's the case, then you were never living on the streets. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Oh, okay. Okay.
Make sure you get up, stretch your legs, do the things. We'll be back in 6.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks finishing Tuesday on a very positive note as optimism for a December rate cut grows. The Dow ending up 664, S&P 500 up 61, NASDAQ up 154. Workday posting third quarter profit amid increased sales thanks to demand for its AI-driven products. Dell Technologies posting quarterly earnings that fell short of Wall Street expectations. The tech giant did raise its full-year outlook as it expects AI server shipments to more than double. HP plans to cut up to 10% of its workforce. Shares of chip giant AMD plummeting over 4% amid AI competition. Fellow chip giant NVIDIA shares falling nearly 3% Tuesday. One of its key customers, Google, is reportedly in talks with Meta over a $1 billion-plus AI chip deal. And that's your Fox Business Report. I'm Laura Cantor, invested in you.
More fallout over a viral video. I'm Tom Graham, Fox News. A probe is underway after 6 Democratic lawmakers appeared on a social media video urging U.S. troops to defy illegal orders by President Trump. Fox's David Spunt is in Washington.
We are told investigators from the Justice Department, which includes the FBI, are making initial outreach to staff members on Capitol Hill to set up interviews with those 6 members of Congress who appeared in this controversial video. The 2 senators and 4 representatives, all Democrats, urged those serving in the military they can, quote, refuse illegal orders, end quote. This after the U.S. military conducted more than 20 deadly military strikes on suspected drug boats in international waters. The legality has been questioned since there was no congressional authorization. President Trump calling for the prosecutions of those he calls, quote, traitors, accusing them of, quote, seditious behavior.
Lawmakers did not cite any actual illegal orders given. President Trump says he's fine-tuning a Ukraine-Russia peace plan, the latest proposal kicking off a flurry of diplomatic talks.
Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is being sent by President Trump to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow, while Army Secretary Dan Driscoll will meet with the Ukrainians. President Trump on Truth Social says his Ukraine peace plan is being fine-tuned with additional input from both sides, and there are only a few remaining points of disagreement. The original plan includes Ukraine ceding some land to Russia, a commitment not not to join NATO, and a cap on its military forces. Those terms received pushback from members of the president's own party. At the White House, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
4 people arrested in connection with that October heist at the Louvre Museum. The 2 men and 2 women taken into custody. They're from the Paris region. More than $100 million were taken during the heist. The loot has not been recovered. America's listening to Fox News. Millions hitting the roads and packing the airports as Thanksgiving draws near. Fox's Matt Finn at the busy Los Angeles International Airport.
The Trump administration says a record high 31 million people will travel through the air this entire week. And the FAA says today will be the busiest day of the week with an estimated 52,000 flights. Transportation Secretary Duffy now says there is solid staffing at air traffic control towers, an improvement from when the government reduced flights and staffing during the 43-day shutdown. But Duffy says there are still system-wide problems with the country's current air traffic control system, and he's urging Congress to fund another $20 billion to replace the outdated technology. Duffy is also warning travelers that weather could cause headaches in places like Seattle and across the Midwest. The Trump administration is also touting the national average for a gallon of gas sitting at a little over $3 a gallon.
Even more Americans expected to travel by car. Thanksgiving in the upper Midwest expected to be a snowy affair. Several Michigan counties used to that lake effect snow, such as Traverse City, Cadillac, Grand Rapids. Some other towns will see treacherous conditions. The forecast for some areas of the upper peninsula of Michigan could see as much as 2 feet of snow. Travelers this Thanksgiving, they're urged to get where they're going by noon Wednesday and avoid being stranded. Well, President Trump using his pardon pen today to spare the lives of 2 turkeys from the Thanksgiving table.
The turkeys being pardoned today go by the names of Gobble and Waddle. When I first saw their pictures, I thought we should send them, I shouldn't say this. I was going to call them Chuck and Nancy. But then I realized I wouldn't be pardoning them. I would never pardon those 2 people.
Now, the president joined by First Lady Melania for the annual White House tradition. 2 pardoned turkeys will live out their days at North Carolina State University. On Wall Street, stocks ending deep in the green. The Dow up 664 points. I'm Tom Graham, and this is Fox News.
Welcome back. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Make sure you already like, subscribe, done all the things to the things, as we like to say. We're talking about what you see, what you get. And we're trying to apply this whole conundrum to our lovely political life. Because what we're seeing right now, at least from my eyes, is that I'm watching a magic trick unfold in front of us. Like it's like playing a game of Texas Hold'em, but they all got them and I got none. right. We're playing spades. They got all 13.
Right.
But then they tell you, "Oh no, look, that looks great. You know, that looks great from your behalf. Go ahead and play that." No. And again, the 2-party magic trick, upside our head again, right? No matter how much progress we make as a country, right, with this guy in office, right? No matter how much good is done. Well, what about the $50 billion he sent to Argentina? What? Well, that's a bailout. That's a bailout. And I'm sitting here listening to this guy. This happened on TikTok Live, right? And it was me, a young lady that I know, and a couple other people. I knew the host too, but I'm sitting here and this guy's like, "Where you get tired of being lied to? He sent $50 billion to Argentina and nothing in return." Well, I think it's very important to have one of the strongest allies in that region, because you know that other team, they talk about, well, those are our allies. Well, Argentina's an ally, right?
They don't even know that they're different countries.
Right. You're right. You're right. But they sit here and say, we didn't get nothing in exchange for that. And they go through this laundry list of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm saying to myself, is that all you got?
Yeah.
Right? Is that literally all you got? Again, it's the psychology. It's ironic, right? How if it's your team, again doing the transgression, your mouth is shut.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. But soon as the other team does, oh no, you can't do that. I'm like, look, you know what Javier Milei did to Argentina was needed. And the same thing is going to happen in America. If we ever get a true libertarian president, the same thing is going to happen. That libertarian president on principle should be collapsing every single system because it does nothing but harm the people. It's all it does at the end of the day. And you better be ready. And these so-called, we call them liberals or whatever we call them nowadays, they better buckle up and know how to shoot a bow and arrow or a rifle to get some food, right? Because this tie of our lives to this federal government that it does nothing right. That it's all smoke and mirrors. Going back to the show title, right? What you see is what you get. Y'all, what you see is smoke. All you're getting is the mirrors to look at the same smoke. That's all you're getting, but people seem to can't tear out of that. They just want to sit there, oh, no, we're going to point fingers over here. And guess what's going to happen in 2028, right? When whomever, I don't care who it is, right? I don't care if it's a Democrat president or a Republican president, whoever sits in that office, all those people, you know that saying that that's been going around social media talking about black fatigue.
Yeah,
it's going to be liberal fatigue at that point because they will have no enemy. They will have no enemy unless their deranged minds create one, and then we know for sure it is a mental disability or a mental disorder, a mental illness, whatever you want to call it at that point, right? Because they'll have nothing.
What they have is propaganda. They've been fed a full diet of propaganda.
Yeah, you're right about that. Go ahead.
World War II, the fake news of that time, especially during war, it really expands on itself as an entity, all the propaganda. Right now, I mean, what was I was reading something about, you would probably know, it was on X, breaking. Elon Musk just turned on the location spotlight and the entire Gaza resident influencer industry and fake IDF soldier industry just imploded. It turns out the eyewitness in Rafah, living under bombardment, has been live tweeting from a comfy flat in Islamabad while the only thing exploding is his mom's pressure cooker. Is this what's going on, right? I mean, we've got disinformation and people writing things from our enemy countries, destroying the young minds that think they're getting information.
Right.
They think that, and the Chinese, I have to say, they're very good at mind control, as we've all come to know, not even imagine anymore. They know how people get twisted and their minds controlled. They were controlling the media for the past 50 years. Hollywood was censored by the CCP so that China never looked bad in the movies, except maybe some of the old Ian Fleming, 007 movies. I think there was some crazy, there was a crazy Chinese guy. Karate. He was the karate expert that flung the hat and chopped the guy's head off with it. But generally speaking, they censored anything negative about their people in the Hollywood movie industry. Now, I don't know how that worked or how true that is. I don't really know. It's just something I heard, but it makes sense that we've been fed some really weird stuff throughout our lives via the media. And, television, I can't imagine a world without it. But there was a world without it. During World War II, I don't think there was any TV.
Mm-mm.
It was just radio.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't even think nearly everybody had a phone at that time. You know, so communication was just that newspaper. And who published it? Yeah.
Right. That's right.
This is what we're going to tell everybody. Yeah. Kennedy was shot by Harvey Oswald. It was Ruby, whatever his name was. There's no way for us at this point to actually know anything but what's been put in those files, who wrote the encyclopedias, who wrote the books that were disseminated through the school system. Now you have to admit that Trump is really working on getting rid of the school system, the Department of Education, and that's a positive move because we got to start at the low level. These kids have been indoctrinated to a place where at least our indoctrination was communism was bad. The Kennedy assassination was terrible. We got fed at least information that Hitler was bad. And honestly, how do we know? How do we know what really happened in World War II and World War I?
Right.
We know what we've been fed, what we learned. We don't really know who started what.
Right.
Which politicians were in on what.
Yep.
Study the banking system, you'll learn everything you have to know. Study the medical system, you'll learn everything you have to know. They were all in on it. It was all politics, the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, today I was reading about colonoscopies of all things, but it's still, you know, food for thought. They're saying that this was another made-up preventative test just to make money. That sometimes there are outcomes of what you think is just a preventative, simple technique to pick up cancer, colon cancer, which we hear is the #2 killer of people. How do we know that's true? How do we know this is not all something that they built, they experimented with these machines and it's a way to just make money? How do we know who comes out of these things all infected, all messed up? I mean, that's what I was reading today, that's happening. And, you know, we don't know. You know that we don't know.
Right.
We don't know anything.
Right.
Hitler could have been the nicest guy and was trying to do things for his country, and the deep state took his ass down.
Right.
I mean, they're doing this to Bibi too. Look, every single country has a deep state, just like we experienced with the Biden regime and the Obama regime and Hillary Clinton. If you take those 3 presidents and 3 people, every country has those same people in it. Every country has that deep state, and they're all working in cahoots with each other. So you could pick any leader of any country and say, this guy's terrible. This one is bad. This one's working with Mossad. This group of people is terrible. No, not all true. You don't know. We don't know. It just is what it is. And we all have to work together at some point to try to clean this mess up as best as we can, and maybe we never will. Human beings, I haven't noticed a change in the 5,000 years I'm studying yoga and history and religions and all the things I've been interested in. Seems to me not a lot has changed. But how much time we got left, Rod? So I don't get started.
Oh no! We got like three minutes. That's actually right on time, actually.
Okay,
Imagine
so the
that.
only last thing I wanted to say is that the only thing we have working for ourselves as individuals, our own psychology at work, is our intuition, our intuitive feelings, gut, our intuitive brain gut working. And we have to tie in our ability to intuit and have rational thinking going on in all situations. It's really, really important for us to be able to step back and say, okay, what are they trying to tell us? First of all, we have free will. God gave us that. We have that free will. And if we use our cognition with our gut and our faith in God, all three together, we can keep ourselves going. We can figure this all out. We have to stay calm and we have to stay patient. It's exercise. It's exercise for our inner being. It's not just physical. It's what's upstairs.
I'll say this in closing, kind of going off of what I just said, right? You don't have to accept what they tell you, and y'all know who the they is. Mm-hmm. You don't have to accept it, right, as your truth. But by God, you better accept the fact that they believe it because they said it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's something that's unavoidable. Yeah. What you can do when they try to tell you what their truth is, right? Even though there's no such thing as their truth, is,
yeah.
What you can do is just step back, right? You can listen without listening, right? Some people deserve that courtesy because not every interaction is a teaching interaction. Sometimes that interaction is to test your mettle. I found myself in that role many times the last couple of weeks. People presenting themselves and testing my mettle, testing my wit.
Yeah.
Right? I just want everybody to remember before we sign off is that the reality they are presenting to us is not real. It's not really reality. Reality is common sense with some complex things. What they are presenting to us from this federal government, some state governments, is a false reality. It is all false. It's a reality they made up in their head, yeah. Right? To make themselves feel good and virtuous. As a young lady said one time in a TikTok live, was that you're so pressed on pushing an ideology, you want to codify it, put it in statute. What's going to happen when the other team pulls up? Since you put these laws and statutes in place, what's going to happen when the other team pulls up and flips the world that they created for you in statute, right? They flip it upside down. Now you're back to where you were. Something we just got to remember. They keep selling us a false reality. Yeah. And we have to understand that's what they're selling us. Until next time, y'all, remember, love your neighbors. Love your family. Love yourself. Those of you, happy Thanksgiving. And all that good stuff. Because we won't be on Friday. Obviously. Because it's the day before, the day after the turkey, we won't be on. We're not, yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. I'll no longer be a slave. you know, in the kitchen, what have you. But, you know, enjoy your families this weekend. Pray for your family members that you may think are distraught or in disarray, because they do deserve prayer. They do deserve redemption and healing, right? Just remember those. Remember those people. Until next time, y'all. Peace and love.